How do you reason with these people? Seriously, how do you reason with them? This could have been a guy taking out multiple kids, and you know what the media would do? They would try to convince you that he's a MAGA Republican. That's what the media does. Instead of saying, oh my God, here's a person that unalives children, who stabs teachers, who shouldn't be out in the streets. Okay, Venters, I have good and I have bad news. Let's go with the good news first. Today I weighed in my socks at 194.6. I'm really feeling a lot more athletic and fit than I did even a month or two ago. And let's go to the bad news real quick. The bad news is one of my popular venters sent me a really nice Cam Scadaboo t-shirt, and I was going to wear that bad boy on this walk, right? But he ended up experiencing one of the most horrific ankle injuries that I've ever seen. Like, it almost looked like you could have just literally taken his foot and completely dismembered it from his leg. It looked like he literally lost his foot. It was that bad, and it might be one of these things where he's never the same. So prayers go out to Cam. For my good buddy that sent me that Scadaboo shirt. I was just too heartbroken. Last Friday, outside of Meadow Community Schools in Thornton, Colorado, 31-year-old Damien Brooks ended up stabbing one of the teachers there. Because it was 3 p.m. and he was helping kids out at dismissal time, I have to assume that quite a few teachers and students probably saw this assault happen live and in person.
He's a fun teacher. He knows how to draw really good. It was like just quiet and everyone's shocked. Like their faces were in shock.
It's three of my kids as teachers, so my smallest one, he's 5, and when he heard, he started crying. My oldest one was just like, hey mom, like, it's going through my head. I like, what if it was one of the kids? What if it was us going to the bus? And like, that just got to me.
Now let me tell you what makes this story so irritating for me, and a lot of these stories are kind of irritating for me, but this person, 31-year-old Damien Brooks, he's been arrested each and every year for the past years leading back to 2017. Among the things he's been arrested and let go for: attempted homicide, felony menacing, theft, assault with serious bodily injury. So my question to you, Venters, is let's take away the left, let's take away the right, let's look at it just from a human being point of view. I don't think any of us would be okay with this monster being out on the streets. What are we gonna do to solve this? I think we need to start telling our elected officials that we need change. What I'm wondering is, how come we don't hear about very many people taking petitions, getting signatures to start getting some of these judges removed? How come we're not seeing people going out, getting signatures so that they start enforcing the laws? It's just like when President Trump went into, I think it was either DC or Memphis itself, there's a lot of laws already established on the books where they could totally stop this. For some reason, they don't enforce the law.
Thornton police say that 31-year-old Damien Marcus Brooks was taken into custody minutes after the stabbing thanks to a school resource officer who rushed over from a nearby campus. Brooks has multiple prior felony convictions, including attempted homicide, theft, felony menacing, and assault with serious bodily injury, along with some parole violations as recently as last year.
Jesse, a lot of times, you find out that the victim and the assailant had previous relationships, right? Well, not in this case. This lunatic attacked this teacher, and it was completely random. As a matter of fact, I'm starting to realize that when these criminals come out, the recidivism on what they do is so harsh and so bad that basically it almost looks like they just look for victims. And I bet that is what's happening, because I don't think he's going to do this to a cop. He's looking for somebody that's not expecting it. When you're a cross guard or something, at the end of the day, you're looking at kids getting on the bus or going, with their parents back home. You're not expecting some crazy guy to come and start stabbing you. Now, here's the good news. These were non-life-threatening injuries that the teacher sustained, and they said that the teacher was conscious as he got into the, I guess, EMT and the ambulance to go back to the hospital. So just to recap, we have a situation where a 31-year-old with a rap sheet a mile long has been let out, but not for like a DUI or unpaid parking tickets. This guy was let out after attempted unaliving. I mean, seriously, what kind of asshole judge do you have to be to just allow this guy to go back out on the streets? It's absolutely crazy, and I'm not going to hold this against the Democrats. I think you guys have just been ignorant to this, and I'm going to go with the story that you guys had no idea how bad these judges that are liberal are. That's the only thing, because otherwise I have to assume that all people on the left are just pro-crime and they're against the victims, because that's what it looks like. Get out of the orange man is bad syndrome that you suffer from and start getting rid of these judges and these leaders. If they get in the school goes broke and the kids start to fail. The teachers start to resign. If they go into government, crime starts to skyrocket. They start lying about the numbers so it doesn't look bad. It's just all scandal. It's just really disappointing. It's like, how many times do you have to tell people on the left, look at what your judges are putting back into society? And again, the saddest part, it's probably a 70% chance that the teacher himself was probably a liberal. And I think it was a male teacher, but I'm not sure. They didn't say his name. Why didn't they say his name? Probably because in Colorado, for all I know, if they even say your name, there's probably somebody ready to come attack you so that you don't prosecute. It's awful. Sometimes we can find ourselves getting a little down. I was down about an hour and a half ago because I started thinking my college team's out, my NFL team that I'm cheering for is out, my favorite player is out. But again, that's where it's really nice to have something that you can rely on and fall back on. Guys, I'm telling you, you got to get your daily walk in. TWMGO, the walk must go on. Darwin Creation says, why in the F do judges in this state let people with attempted murder in their background off so light? They always reoffend. You know, when you and I do something bad, we want to be forgiven for it. But when you and I do something bad, it might be cheating on a partner, right? Something where, you're hoping nobody loses their life over. Or it might be something like, maybe this person had a DUI back in the day. But I mean, my goodness, you should not be forgiven for things like attempted murder. You should not be forgiven for things like, assault with a serious bodily injury. Those people don't belong on the streets. Pretty soon, people are going to start pointing at all people that are on the left and saying, you're voting for this. And we're already starting to see some murmurings of that. I think our country's going to hell. I really do. I don't think the judges care. I don't even know how do these judges live with themselves? Do they actually think, hey, I'm good at what I do? You know how when you go to work, you kick ass at work and you tell yourself, hey, I'm a pro at this. I know exactly what I'm doing, right? I don't think these judges know what they're doing. Or maybe it's worse. Maybe they do know what they're doing and they're just putting this vermin out in the community for us to deal with, and they just don't care. As a matter of fact, that probably is what it is. They just don't care. Why aren't these people, are we not allowed to discuss the decisions that certain judges make? Seems to me like that would be the world's most popular show. Hey, let's take a look at this a-hole judge and look at the bad decisions they make. I think there needs to be an accounting. And I don't think that we should look at red judges any differently from blue judges. If red judges are letting these people out, no more Mr. Nice Guy. This country is tired of Mr. Nice Guy. And it would be nice if every now and then a Democrat would write something in the comments like, you know what, you're right, we have bad judges. Democrats don't even like to look at their side when they're doing something wrong. They only like to look at our side, and half the time they can't really say anything bad about our side, so they revert back to the orange man. Isn't that crazy? The orange man is the problem. No, the problem is people keep letting these criminals into society, and it's making the world suck. John 01GAP says, I want these reporters to do a deep dive on every person involved in his releases and court orders. Nothing will ever change until we call out the people that are involved. I'm telling you, it would be a hit. These mainstream channels, you know, ABC, Fox, CBS, NBC, if they had literally horrible judge of the week and they made that a TV show, I think it would be the most popular show. I think it would literally skyrocket to #1, and I think you'd have a lot of judges that would stop making stupid choices really quick. These judges are making choices that not even a third grader would make. Does anybody else find that disturbing? If you tell a third grader this guy tried taking this person's life, that third grader would be safer with the community than these judges are. Give somebody one chance. Okay, they beat up somebody. Maybe it was self-defense. We're going to give you one chance. But 2, 3, 4, 5 going to jail every year since 2017 for these type of charges, and you're just going to let that person go? Put the judge in jail. MJ says, Denver has fallen. It's starting to look like we're in a war between good and evil, and good is asleep at the wheel. We are letting people take over our cities, hurt people, and then we're appointing judges that give them slaps on the wrist. It's disgusting. To me, that sounds like there's a war where only us good people are the victims. When are we going to stand up, fight back, and say never again? I'm telling you, and we need to get these judges out of the courts that are telling Donald Trump, hey, you can't be bringing in the military in these cities. That is bullcrap. These cities are losing people every single weekend to, you know, mass shootings. But we don't call it a mass shooting. We don't call it that because it was at a party full of teenagers. What's the difference between 4 or 5 people losing their life in a high school party or get together and a person shooting up a school? It's crazy. I feel like the good guys are going to lose, because the only way we ever fight it is when we become the victim, and that's just like a reactive. You should be proactive in this world, not reactive. You want to prevent the heart attack, not get better after the fact. You want to prevent the shooting, not recover from it, right? We're being reactive, and it's stupid. What we really need is for people to come together and say, we don't care about our political bent. We need to get these criminals out of our lives. Actually, out of our deaths. I think it's just really the left. I think that's why we're kind of screwed. The left, they don't really do what's right. They just do whatever they want to do, and it's disgusting. Deborah Delgado says, why are these thugs walking free? Because the left, they should be behind bars for the community safety. The community is not an issue when it comes to these left-leaning judges. It's not an issue when it comes to these left-leaning school boards. All they care about is doing whatever's on their agenda. You need to get out of that party. I mean, if you're a reasonable, normal person, why are you in the left? Why are you a Democrat? Why are you in that party? You know, become an independent, think freely, get rid of some of these judges. It's only a matter of time before somebody you know or love is going to be victimized. And you know what's sad? When that day happens, you'll start taking crime seriously. That's actually a problem within you. And it's something that like every Democrat just kind of ignores. That's so weird. You're never going to hear a Democrat talking about crime unless it affects them directly. It's so crazy. Instead, what they'll do is they'll talk about how bad the orange man is from their gated community. It's sick. It's really sick. Winry says, why is it so bad to look at someone like this guy and say, yup, he doesn't belong in society? Oh, God. How do you reason with these people? Seriously, how do you reason with them? This could have been a guy taking out multiple kids, and you know what the media would do? They would try to convince you that he's a MAGA Republican. That's what the media does. Instead of saying, oh my God, here's a person that unalives children, who stabs teachers, who shouldn't be out in the streets, we give them multiple chances. And Canada and the UK are doing these same things to people that shouldn't even be here. Cheryl Mocketer says, we have got to get rid of activist judges who treat their courts like a revolving door. They're not judges, they're criminals. These judges are literally criminals. If there was a show and they showed all these people that judges are letting out, people would want their heads. That's why they don't ever talk about it. These judges would have 1,000,001 people looking for them. They are the bad guys. I think we need to find an artificial intelligence answer. These judges need to have the decision ripped from their hands, because a third grader would make smarter choices. And if a third grader makes smarter choices, it's time to get rid of that judge. Have a good day. It's so hot out here. I'm so bummed. But that's why I walk. The walk must go on. I'll see you tomorrow.